misgendering and dead naming as child abuse in custody decisions. I can't think of anything more Orwellian or more Big Brother.
We don't ask someone passing civil rights legislation to go ask the KKK their opinion.
Let's hop into the outnumbered panel on Fox News with Kayleigh McEnany and others as they talk about LGBTQ rights, specifically with trans youth and misgendering. So buckle up. It's sure to get pretty spicy, and be sure to leave us a like on the video if you can. It helps us out a ton.
There's a new war on parental rights in Colorado. You will not believe this. Democrats advancing a controversial bill that would effectively classify misgendering and dead naming as child abuse in custody decisions. Now, dead naming is when you refer to an individual by their birth name and not the new desired name. So in custody battles, that would now be considered coercive.
Colorado Democrats are so based. I mean, you've just got to love them. Yeah, a parent misgendering their child or dead naming them purposefully should absolutely be considered abuse in the same way that any other verbal, mental, emotional abuse should be considered abuse. Like with any other consistent berating, insults that crosses the line. Why wouldn't this? Trans youth, they're still youth, they're still humans. I mean, plenty of data shows that LGBTQ youth in general not only experience all forms of abuse from parents at much higher levels, almost 30% for emotional abuse, but data also shows that this directly leads to increased rates of suicide, depression, anxiety, and other kind of negative mental symptoms in the community. If 1 in 3 LGBTQ youth already experience these issues directly from the hands of their parents, and a law can lower that, I would say the law is positive. Isn't it protect all children? Isn't it like pro-life? Or I mean, is that only for like the straight white children or when we're controlling women or what?
If you call your child by their birth pronoun, if you call your child by their birth name, that is considered coercive, and you could have your child taken away in the state of Colorado. I can't think of anything more Orwellian or more Big Brother.
It feels like the lunatics are running the state house there or something. That's the only way to explain it. I will say this, there are families across the country in my community that are navigating issues of transgenderism, transgender children. And in my own community, I have no judgment. I agree, children who are all created in the image of God with no judgment and acceptance. It is not my place. But I also think it is not the place of government to try to regulate this issue and navigate this with parents. I think this is an issue that should be squarely left to the parents of the household. Let me give you an example.
I love that if you were bashing the government for preventing you from doing physical violence to a straight child, we would all understand that you're crazy. But when it's transphobia to an LGBTQ child, it's like, how dare the government butt in? But what does the government exist for, if not to ensure protections for the most vulnerable members of a society like children, especially LGBTQ children who are bullied and abused at higher rates, thus have symptoms like depression and anxiety at higher rates? Also, it's Orwellian for the government to protect trans children. And that's from the party who thinks kids who can't afford school lunch should get a job or go without, or that children rape victims should be forced to give birth, or that Medicaid needs defunded, which funds 42% of births. Like, what are we doing here? All of that's normal, but trans acceptance is where we start to get dystopian.
A well-stakeholdered bill does not need to be discussed with hate groups. And we don't ask someone passing civil rights legislation to go ask the KKK their opinion.
I agree. There's no reason to go to the table with people who are echoing the hateful rhetoric going around about the trans community.
So the one lawmaker there, when she calls parents groups, anybody who's not an LGBT parent group, wow. So I guess we're the enemy in her book. And so, or in her case, the rest of us are white supremacists.
Yes. Unironically, literally, yes. But why even discuss this, right? I mean, they won their election. They got a mandate, right? Colorado rejected the radical MAGA agenda and gave woke communism a mandate. So shut up and accept it, you snowflakes. But I'll put the bill up on the screen real quick because, I mean, these clowns are also just misrepresenting what is in it. I love that it's just always the transphobic people who think that trans people shouldn't even have health care, let alone dignity or basic human empathy, that think that we need to debate the merits of things like this with them. But let's just correct the record, because even under their false framing, it's just transphobia. But the bill just says, in the case of a custody battle, if one parent dead names or misgenders a child, that's going to be considered when they're considering who should get custody of that child. It also considers this discriminatory and that it wouldn't be allowed in public accommodation unless there's a legal need for that name required. But like, how dare they give trans people rights? Like, oh, I must be so angry about this. Also, if you don't want to be compared to racist hate groups, maybe don't act akin to how they would have when civil rights legislation was passed. I don't know.